Welcome to CenterState CEO's semi-monthly podcast, Talk CNY, presented by NBT Bank.
On Talk CNY, you get an inside look at the people, projects, and planning moving Central New York forward.
I'm Andrew Fish, Senior Vice President of Member and Business Experience at CenterState CEO, Central New York's leading business leadership and economic development organization.
And I'm Kate Hammer, Business Coach and Member at CenterState CEO. We are your hosts for Talk CNY. Take a moment right now to subscribe in your listening app for new episodes every other Wednesday.
The future of Syracuse to me looks like having Micron Technologies here and having folks that come from my communities and look like me involved in the growth that will come inevitably from Micron being here.
On this episode of Talk CNY, we'll talk to Shawni Davis, President and CEO of Luminary Electrical Contractors, first recipient of a growth and equity fund loan from CenterState CEO, about her company, its growth, and how the investment has supported her growth in Central New York. Shawni, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So Shawni, you're a Syracuse native. You're a graduate of Henniger High School and a master electrician. Your company, Luminary Electrical Contractor, is a New York State certified minority women-owned business, and you perform commercial and industrial electrical work. What got you interested in becoming an electrician and starting your own company?
First of all, thank you for having me.
Of course.
I was about 20 some odd years old, and I was just working like kind of dead end customer service kind of positions. And I went down to Florida to visit my dad thinking, maybe I'll just move to Florida. And I got there and he does heating, ventilation, air conditioning. And he was doing a little bit of electrical work on a project. He's like, come to work with me, see how you like this. And I'm like, all right. And we did some electrical work and I loved it. I was like, this is great. This is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing.
Wow.
I love it. I didn't know anything about power tools or hand tools or anything, but I know the little bit that I did, I really wanted to do it. So he told me, when you get back to New York, join the electricians union and they'll train you. They have an apprenticeship program, that kind of thing. And that's exactly what I did.
That's amazing.
And that's how it started. And here we are now, a master electrician, going from not knowing anything about hand and power tools to now mastering my craft. It's been great.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's been great.
That's the best feeling, right? Like when you really find your thing and you're like, oh,
yeah, this is it.
Yes.
Yeah, this is it. So I told Andy that works for CenterState, that my first position or my first job as an electrician, I showed up on the project with just a hammer, just a hammer. I had no tools. I showed up with a hammer, like, whatever you need me to do with this thing is going down. And they looked at me like, what are you going to do with that? Like, it's what I have. All right. All right, well, go pick up some material and take it upstairs. That's what you do. So
it's a great learning experience.
Fun. So Andy and I have a long relationship. I met with Andy, I think, before I even started Luminary. So this is how long it's been with me and Andy. And he would always say, well, what do you need? What can I get you? How can we help? And every time my answer was, Andy, I need money. I don't know. You can't help me build these things. I need money. That's it. And I guess I was placed in a couple of the programs that CenterState was like kind of building. And so I might have been the first in a couple of these different programs, to be honest. But finally, Andy goes, okay, Shawni, I know you're talking about money and we may have an option for you, hold tight. And then he brought the Growth and Equity Fund. And I'm like, this is the one right here, Andy. This is it. This is the one. And I'm so grateful to be a part of this program. And with that assistance, like, that's helped me grow. I've been able to, buy tools and buy computers and things for office space and, pay payroll and regular operating expenses. So it's really, really been helpful. We've tried to, have that monies and see how well we can operate outside of that. So it's good to have that there, but like, how can we be self-sustaining with having that little cushion there and it's been great. It helps us out when we need it. And I'm so just really, really grateful for the Growth and Equity Fund and Andy. I love Andy, and Eric. I love Eric. And Andy gave me a nice little gift from when I was awarded the Growth and Equity Fund. He brought me a bundle of hammers with a bow.
I love that. That's great.
Oh my gosh.
Certainly special.
Yeah.
You distributed those to your employees now, right?
No, it just sits right there as a little bouquet of hammers sitting on one of the desks in the office.
Love it.
Take us back to what it was like for you when you first launched your business and you got those first few contracts.
Oh man. So I was in business before I even got one contract. I was in business for maybe 6 months or so. And I was just doing like a couple of houses or here and there. And then I got a phone call. Well, once I got my MWBE certification, I got a phone call from CNS companies. And they're like, hey, we have this project here out at, man, it was a college for some fire alarm. And I'm like, yes, absolutely. But I need you guys to pay me weekly because I have no money. And it's the only way I'm going to be able to make it happen. And they were like, okay. I'm like, all right, then let's go. So I worked there for a few weeks by myself, and I was able to hire someone else on because they were paying us weekly. And that's how I got my first employee. He still works for the company, and it's been great.
So fast forward a little bit, you've got a good track record of contract performance. You got a bunch of quality contracts on the horizon, and you had existing relationships with a commercial bank, but you still found it challenging to get the capital that you needed in order to fund the growth of your company, right? Mm-hmm. So what were the most significant challenges that lack of capital created for you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anything that you're doing in any kind of construction realm, the tools cost money, the equipment costs money, the materials cost money, the labor cost. Everything that I've just named are essential to my business, and every single one of them costs money. And, I was able to get the one contract to get paid weekly, but then after that, it's like, all right, we'll pay you once a month. Mm-hmm. And it's like, all right, well, somehow I have to float this payroll for a month. And I got to get us tools to work with. And so those were the biggest challenges, just trying to drum up enough money to do a small project, right? That was a very difficult time. And I tried to go to, a bank, and I was able to get a little bit of money to just keep rolling a little bit, but it just costs so much. The more you grow, the more it costs, the more, so we're in a little bit of a better position now. We've, garnered some relationships with some banks and with CenterState and SBDC. And so we've been able to grow from that point. I've gone from the one employee that I just told you guys about to now we have a staff of 11.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's fast.
Yeah, we have a staff of 11. I have an administrator, estimator, project manager, myself, and then electricians. So
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Obviously, as you were struggling with those early years and the difficulty around the capital, you'd been engaged with some of our team. You mentioned Andy Obernesser. I know Eric Jankowski's helped quite a bit on the community investment team. And we saw the potential, right? Like, here's this rock star of an electrician that wants to grow. And so we had this program called Growth and Equity. It was very new, but it really was designed for entrepreneurs like yourself. Individuals that the commercial banks aren't quite ready to take on the risk, but we see the opportunity and know that you're going to work hard, you're going to make that happen, and you're going to grow that business. So you now have the 11 people working for you. That is amazing. Tell us a little bit about what that feels like, right? What is today for a Luminary Electrical Contractors and you feel like versus a year ago?
I'll tell you what, I did not expect to have 11 employees right now. I didn't expect that, but it feels great. Like, every time you pay payroll, it may not feel that great because there's a lot of money going out, but it does feel great because that there are families that are thriving, not just surviving, right, but thriving because our electricians make great money, right? So their homes, their houses, their children, their vehicles, all of that, they're thriving based on the work that they're putting out and also the opportunities that Luminary is able to give them. So it really feels good I haven't really thought about it in that way. So thanks for even asking that question. I never even considered it. It's just like, as we go, we just move, right? We're just moving. We're not really sitting and thinking, wow, what kind of an impact are we having on just our employees? So thank you for asking that question, because
absolutely,
it's definitely something to think about now.
Good. Sure. Yeah. Your story and the potential of other companies like yours to be a part of rebuilding the story of Syracuse inspired officials to select you to introduce President Joe Biden when he came to visit Syracuse last October for the historic announcement of Micron's investment in Central New York. What was it like?
First of all, I can't believe it's almost a year later.
Right.
Wow, that went by quickly. It's just like flew by. But what an awesome experience. First of all, knowing that it was going to happen and not being able to tell anyone. That was fun. That was fun. You're trying to keep your mouth shut about something like that. You just really want to tell it to the whole world. But what an awesome experience. President Biden, Governor Hochul, everyone was just super nice, really cool, really laid back. What an experience afterwards. Life has not been the same since. Life has not been the same since. I'll tell you that.
Say more. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, definitely recognized pretty much everywhere I go now, which is not a part of my personality to be, in the forefront and the limelight. I'm just not that kind of person, but I try to still smile and say hi to everyone and just being recognized everywhere. Yesterday, just a quick story. Yesterday, I had one of my employees that I sent out to Buffalo come here to meet me to grab some things. And we went to a local bar restaurant. And I probably stopped about 4 times before I got to him because I saw people and they were talking to me. And he's like, "Are you famous or something?"
Yes. Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. So that is something that has drastically changed. But for the most part, in a very good way. We've gotten, more contracts. We've gotten kind of recognition in a lot of different places. Some people don't really know that just in March of this year, there was an SBA event, right?
Mhm.
That happened at the White House. And President Biden actually told my entire story in a speech. And I was floored. I didn't know about it. I didn't know it was going to happen. I thought maybe they warn you about these things, but clearly they don't.
Not. Yeah.
So I didn't find out about it until the very next day. So even having that, life is not the same when the president is mentioning you on his own, just I'm going to just tell her story really quickly. I'm not even going to let her know. How awesome is that?
That's amazing.
I don't even know how I feel about it. It's just a thing that every day I'm thinking, what is happening in my life right now? So I'm thankful for the opportunity, though.
Well,
great.
Now you're even because you had to keep the secret about him and then he had to keep the secret about you.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
There you go.
So it's fair.
There it is.
So how have you or how will you leverage what happened?
Well, I've definitely been able to reach out to people who seem to be a little more accessible. So I've been able to really leverage that with building more relationships, especially with customers. At this point, there are folks that are reaching out to me as well. And so I'm just kind of just maintaining also those relationships with people. I'm a part of some great organizations that definitely give me a little more exposure to the things that are going on in the city, not necessarily for work, but just to know what's going on in the community and being a part of, different organizations. And I'll just keep it at organizations because I don't want to name drop too much, but different organizations. Sure. And so that part of it has been great. There are not a lot of people that I can't pick up the phone and call and say, "Hey, do you think?" And not get someone to say, even if they don't have the answer or they don't have the resource, they're able to connect me with other people. And so it's been pretty cool.
It's great. That network's really expanded.
Yes, it has, crazy.
That's awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we'll continue the conversation with Shawni, talk more about how companies like hers are creating new growth and opportunities in Central New York. But first, a note from our presenting sponsor of Talk CNY, NBT Bank.
Every day at NBT Bank, we focus our business around all the ways we can help yours. We're large enough to offer leading business and digital solutions, but local enough to ensure personalized one-on-one service. So turn to NBT Bank for a full range of business solutions, like capital and treasury management services, even fraud protection, and see how NBT Bank is just the right size to help you do big things. Visit nbtbank.com to learn more and start a conversation. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
This is Talk CNY, and we are continuing our conversation with Shawni Davis, President and CEO of Luminary Electrical. Shawni, do you have any words of wisdom for the youth in our community who might be interested in pursuing entrepreneurship or going into the trades?
Absolutely. So one of the things that I make sure that we do as a company is when we make sure we go to schools, we make sure we go to events that involve the youth, just to first of all be visible, because I think just having that, just seeing what Luminary is and where I started and where we've come, I think is super inspiring. I think if I had someone that was a Luminary Electrical when I was younger, it probably would have inspired me to, get into the trades a little sooner.
Sure.
So that is something that we already do. But I would say that I'm a project kid. I grew up on the south and east sides of Syracuse in the housing projects. And there is literally not one thing that you cannot do just because of where you came from. You can be in your environment, but you don't have to necessarily be a product of your environment. You can take whatever it is that you do and take it all the way to the next level, as wherever the next level is, right? Take it. You get to one level and you continue to level up. And I'm still in level up phase, myself. So yeah, I'm hoping to just be an inspiration, just purely from existing in this city.
Yeah.
I think that alone is inspiration.
So. Correct me if I'm wrong, but are you not the first African American woman to be a master electrician in this community? In this community, and we're still doing research, but I'm believing the state of New York. Wow,
ooh,
that's
cool.
That would be amazing, and also about time. And let's get more of them, right?
Hello.
Let's be the first of many.
That is one of the things that I always say. I'm just like, it says a couple of things, right? There's like, wow, this is such a great accomplishment, but we are so far behind. Mm-hmm. I am fortunate enough to be in contact with and know the first Black woman in the United States to own an electrical contracting company.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, so I looked her up on LinkedIn, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Great tool.
Man, I love LinkedIn. And I just reached out to her, like, your story sounds so much like mine, just the way you went about it. And she's like, yeah, let's talk. And I have her phone number. I'm going to go down. She lives in Atlanta. I'll go down to Atlanta and have a conversation with her and kind of hang out with her. I've talked to her a few times. It's just what an honor to have that person, right? And so she started 20 years ago. Well, 23 years ago at this point. So, I mean, we are way behind here.
Yeah, to think that that's the first, right? And yeah, and now only the first here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work to be done. And you're doing it. You're leveling up, as you said, going from you and one person to now 11 people. A lot of stuff going on right now. Anything you want to share about what Luminary is working on or any of your projects right now?
One of the biggest projects is we are working on the new Buffalo Bills stadium, which is really cool.
Yep.
Really awesome.
That's so cool.
I made sure to not tell
right
Kate
now.
that. I wanted to see her reaction.
That's awesome. Yeah. And all of our listeners who are Bills fans are probably freaking out
Bills
right
Mafia
now.
is freaking out right now.
Yes.
It's just cool to just be a part of that project, right?
Sure.
It's cool to say that Luminary is on it. We're currently working on the Corning Glass Museum project, which is really cool.
Equally cool.
Yeah.
Glass.
Yeah, the Glass Museum.
Yes.
Equally cool. We have some local projects coming up, community hospital. Man, there's about 6 or 7 others that right now my mind is drawing a blank, but we have quite a few projects coming up.
And I assume in order to execute against all those, you're going to have to continue to grow. And
that's going to have to happen.
Love that. Love that.
So, and we're still building. I mean, I'm an electrician by trade, not necessarily a business owner. I just have an entrepreneurial spirit. Mm-hmm. And so there's still so many parts and pieces that we're still bringing together as a young company. But I'm looking forward to where we go from here, which I think probably leads into what you're about to say.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I can't wait for us to, a year or two from now, do a check-in and see how much that exponential growth has continued for you in Luminary.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm a little nervous about it, right? Because we're moving into a different kind of territory, especially working on a stadium now. Like, where do you go? Right. Where do you go from this point? You know what I mean?
Well, it's cool. I mean, there are a lot of different types of industries, though, right? So you're making your way around the industries. We like it. When you think about the future of this community, what do you envision?
The future of this community? Well, I mean, the first thing you think about when you think about the future of this community is obviously, the big, huge 17 football field or whatever, elephant in the room, which is Micron, right? Is it 17, 14? I don't know.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So obviously
40? 40.
So I see a community that is literally totally different from what we have right now. I can't even really fathom where we're going to go. What I'm looking forward to is what's going to happen with the current youth and how they're going to change this, this community for whatever they're going to change it to. I know that, they are growing up in a society that has the internet, that has everything at their fingertips. And so they can literally do whatever. It doesn't have to be trade school. It doesn't have to be college. Those were the two choices for us mostly college for us, but they literally can like create a career
path for
at
themselves.
this one.
Yeah.
I mean, it is just, the future is so unknown, but I am looking forward to, what these kids come up with, because they are sharp. They are smart. I love working with youth. Recently, I did, I want to say it was maybe Erie 21 or one of the programs, and myself and an apprentice, we went and did a demonstration. There were 25 kids. We split them up into groups of 5, and they wired up a light switch with a light, and then we plugged it in, and they got to turn their light on to see, oh my God,
cool.
That kind of hands-on. And to see their faces just light up with something like that. Some of them were like, this is fine, but I'd rather be on the phone doing something. But there were others that were just like, is this what happens? It's like,
it was like that experience for you in Florida with your dad, right?
Exactly. Is this what happens?
This is it. This is for
so
me.
Great. And they were all into it. But I said that to say, what else can we put in front of them that they're just going to be like, just soak it all in and then create something totally different out of that. So I'm looking forward to that. I think the future is like so bright here in Syracuse, and it's totally going to change. I hope that we can get more people that look like me, or they're from my community, to get into not only the skilled trades, but just to be a part of what's happening in this community. I think we lack some of that. It's just like that side of town, and then there's downtown. We're so separated and divided and siloed here. So I'm hoping that maybe having this big, huge elephant in the room will kind of bring us all together.
Shawni, thank you so much for the time today. Yeah. Outstanding, and keep up the great work. Luminary is fantastic. Love watching the growth. Keep sending out the LinkedIn videos about the progress at the Bill Stadium.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your leadership and your being such a great role model in this community.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks. CenterState CEO's podcast, Talk CNY, is presented by NBT Bank and is available on clickcny.com and all major podcast platforms.
After each episode, join us in Click, where we will continue to chat about this topic and provide additional resources and links.
In Click, you can also listen to or watch every episode of this series of Talk CNY.
Click is CenterState CEO's digital chamber platform, where our members connect, learn, and receive support from our staff.
For new episode reminders every other Wednesday, be sure to subscribe in your favorite podcast listening app.
If you're enjoying Talk CNY, consider leaving a quick review or a 5-star rating.